Anderson.
And I'm Matt Gross.
And this is Post-Race Purgatory, where we judge all things NASCAR. And today at the Auto Club 400, Superman got it done.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson, with a tremendous final restart, earns his 77th career victory, moves into 7th all-time. And at this point now, he is just adding to what is already a phenomenal legacy. But one thing that amazed me to me is how much better Jimmy Johnson was on that final restart than he had shown all day. He's one of those guys who can always have an ace up his sleeve that you have seen. Other guys, like Kyle Busch, for instance, you know what he's got early in the race. But Jimmy, you're not always sure. And boy, did we see that. I don't know if he was pushing or if they made some adjustment or what went on. But he had so much speed because not only did he take the lead, which we had seen people stay with Harvick off a restart all day, but he pulled away on the last one. I thought after Jimmy made the move on him, I thought Harvick was going to at least, kind of
swing back, sort of
something,
like
at least get alongside. I didn't know he'd get back by him, but man, Jimmy just
flew.
Put it, and just flew away to victory.
Flying. Yeah. As much as you want to say in legacy of his Superman paint job, he flew away. I've often referred to Jimmy Johnson over the years as a sandbagger because he really does sort of do this thing about holding back. You never quite know his full hand, and he hasn't done it to as large of an extent in a while, but boy, full-fledged today because he just made it look like
now the other thing that happened at the end of this race, or the last third of this race, which was interesting, is that Jimmy Johnson had short pitted with about 45 laps to go. It was in commercial. It was just before that, the second to last caution flag, which was just outside of the final run of pit stops, the final pit window. And Chad Knaus brought Jimmy Johnson down pit road a lap earlier than his fuel window, trying to get that extra lap or two on fresh tires. And what it did, even though Jimmy Johnson did not lose a lap in that exchange because fresh tires mean so much, he was able to get back ahead of Kevin Harvick and unlap himself. It did put Jimmy on tires that were slightly older than everybody else on the restart with about 40 laps to go. And what that ultimately did is it really hurt Jimmy on the ensuing restart. So maybe they made an adjustment there, and maybe Jimmy was actually better, but it was masked by those tires. That's what I'm wondering. If
how much of that was
so maybe that's why that happened, because he flew on that last restart.
Was him holding back? How much of it was just the end of the race, adrenaline moment? We see some moves. So there was a lot of factors sort of going into that. But we really can't spend too much time on this. It was a great finish. I loved it, but there was so much action today.
There was so much action today, and it keeps a few trends alive, right? So the driver who leads the most laps does not win
the race.
Again, we've seen that. Kevin. The only we did not quite keep the last lap passing. It happened 3 times in a row at Fontana, which shows you how great this track is. I cannot believe how good this track has become, because it was one of the least exciting tracks on the schedule when it first came out, when they had that new pavement. 12 years ago, Fontana's week. Now it's one of the better tracks on the schedule.
So pumped up to go here.
It is just tremendous. Start to finish, they put an excellent product.
NASCAR, if you are listening,
do not pave this track.
Touch it. It is wonderful. It makes for fabulous racing.
The product, in fact, the last lap when Jimmy pulled away was actually probably one of the least exciting laps of the race. Amazingly enough.
Action going on the entire race. I loved the wear on the tire. It was borderline too much, but that's what you want, borderline. When it's not quite over the edge, people had to be very conscious of, okay, I want fresh tires. When do I come in? Feeling the rub. And what we had was a great thing was when it gets to be that close, you got the placebo effect taking place, because we had a few drivers who just came in because they felt a tire going down and catching themselves, like Casey Kane, like Kyle Busch, who caught it before it went down. But then we had other drivers at different points in the race. Kevin Harvick and Matt Kenseth both came in because they felt a tire down, and there was no proof of their tire going down at that point.
Yeah, they checked on the pit crews. Now again, we don't know if it would have gone out because
it could have been on the way.
There were a lot of tires, but I would like to see Goodyear bring a tire that can stand up to the aero package a little bit more. I do think it did happen a little bit too much, but
the pavement's
do not do anything.
The pavement's
beautiful. That is Goodyear's problem as far as I am concerned, because this track put on a tremendous show today. You had great drivers up for nothing. Not Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick. You had Logano made some incredible. I'm sure he made some people very angry with Truex. Whether he hit him or not, I don't know. But it was very, very close.
Like he
put a slide job move on Harvick on that second last restart with about 25, 30 laps to go. That was absolutely massive. Edwards got up there, and you just saw a lot of really good drivers at the top of their game, able to display their
and a lot of very proud. We saw Truex had another great day, but even drivers who normally don't. Ricky Stenhouse.
Oh, that's the best run of his career, maybe. I think that's the best run of his career.
I was so impressed. Chase Elliott doing an excellent job.
Yep, he mixed it up there.
There was just good racing on this racetrack. Yes,
and it comes down to I think it's just the race we're going to hopefully. The lower downforce package was playing a big role here as well. Hopefully it was a combination of that because we want more of this on these mile and a half. We talked about how it put on a good show at Atlanta, but that's another track that wears tires. So we know now on intermediate tracks where tires wear, we've got it down. We've got it where we want it. Vegas was a little bit harder to tell because you had all these weird things going on with the wind and the dust storms and all that. And Vegas also is one of the harder tracks to put on a good show. It's not that great. So it'll be interesting. I think the next big test here will be Texas. That's the next one we can say. How does that one work out? But we have to deal with Texas for a little while. We get short tracks.
And we can delay that.
Yeah, we can delay that.
I don't need to go there right now.
All right, so this week it's time for the Purgatory Penalty Box.
Mr. Darrell Waltrip. Last week, we asked on our Twitter feed if Larry McReynolds should replace Darrell Waltrip in the booth. And after this, I think it's just more proof that he should. So a little past halfway, this is the event going down. We talked about how Kevin Harvick at one point thought he had a tire going down, which led him to short pit. That actually turned into a positive because what happened was Kevin Harvick gained so much time on these fresh tires that he actually got the lead, got a beautiful lead.
He got 12 seconds.
12 whole seconds, and it just worked wonderful for him. So Rodney Childers made a good decision in thinking, hey, you know what? We made all this time up the first time around. Let's double down. Let's
This is after Jimmy had eroded away the 12-second lead to about 1 second.
1 second. Let's short pit again, and either we'll gain that time back again, or it will force everybody else to come in and pit, and then you'll just be back in the lead, and we'll be back on sequence with everyone else. It was a good risk to take. But like any risk, there is a potential for it to bite you. And what happened was Trevor Bayne brings out the caution.
I don't know how he had tire or intro. There was a lot of smoke inside the car. I don't know. Fox never updated. They should have. Fox does not do a good job updating drivers who are not, let's say, in that top tier of what their problem is. And I never heard the update on Bayne. I know we were talking, it's possible we missed it. It's possible. I never heard them update on exactly what happened with Trevor Bayne. So I'm not going to kill Fox that because I'm not 100% sure.
We don't know what was going on.
I just know I didn't hear it.
It was a little weird. We
but
never did
in any
get
case,
an
it brought out
update.
the caution.
But it brings out the caution, and immediately we have Jeff Gordon in the booth saying, who this is going to hurt is Kevin Harvick. Now, before Jeff even gets to explain the reasoning why, we've got Darrell Waltrip cutting Jeff Gordon off, saying that, no. And this, by the way, is not the first, second, or even third time this year that Darrell Waltrip cuts off Jeff Gordon as he's trying to make a point. But this time, Jeff Gordon decided not to just let him talk over him and said, if you let me explain why. I understand Kevin Harvick will still be in the lead.
Yeah, I think Darrell Waltrip thought that when Kevin Harvick short-pitted that he had lost a lap and now he was going to be trapped a lap down. And both Darrell and Gordon realized that he had unlapped himself, but Gordon had a deeper understanding of what was about to occur.
Exactly. It was like watching a chess match of Darrell Waltrip was looking one move ahead and Gordon was looking 3 or 4. So Gordon explains that because Kevin Harvick now had run a lap and a half on these tires, he's going to be at a disadvantage to all the drivers who came into pit and will now be on 4 fresh tires. Makes sense. But Darrell Waltrip just does this annoying thing rather than just going, okay, whatever. Darrell Waltrip, I feel like, is incapable of saying that he was wrong in any way, shape, or form, so he just beats down harder on his argument.
Doesn't know when to stop digging.
He has no problem switching sides when no one's challenging him on it, so he can act like he's making the right decision, but he never likes to be put in a position where someone says, Darrell, I disagree with you, or Darrell, you're wrong. So he says that, no, it's not going to make a difference at all, because it hasn't been that long, and Jeff Gordon goes on to say, hey, even a half a lap, I would want the fresh tires over that. And then Darrell Waltrip makes the argument, but this is Kevin Harvick.
As if tires on Kevin Harvick's car don't wear out.
Right.
That's when you're out of bullets in the gun at that point.
This is not an issue of whether or not Kevin Harvick's the driver.
Mike Joy actually had to interject and talk about let's throw it down the pit road at that point, because it was but Gordon continued to pound on it. They came back from commercial
like a little child.
Yeah, Mike Joy, they come back from commercial. They're doing a promo on Jimmy Johnson's Superman related car and how good he's been and how many wins. It's 6 wins and 12 top 5s and the whole bit. And then Mike Joy said, the second place car, Jimmy Johnson. Gordon comes back. It's currently the second place car, because he knew that on that restart, Jimmy was going to have an advantage. Now, on that particular restart, because Harvick did not have his fresh tires, and Harvick immediately fell back to 4th place, lost a couple of seconds. Now, he did retake 3rd from Kyle Busch after they ran a few laps, but he was already 2 seconds behind, and this is a car that had dominated the race to that point. So clearly one for Jeff Gordon and a penalty box for Darrell Waltrip for being wrong and continuing to dig his own grave. At some point, he refused to even acknowledge the point that Jeff Gordon made. He was so true. And even if if you disagree with him, it would have been one thing. But just so disrespectful to a tremendous piece of analysis. To a tremendous piece of analysis. I cannot stand when people have arrogance, and I don't want to say stupidity here, but I don't know the exact word I'm looking for here, but it's just very frustrating to hear Darrell Waltrip be as dismissive of a great piece of analysis that Gordon put out there, and he was 100% right.
I think he feels very threatened by having a driver who's current.
Fox has set up a situation now where they have one play-by-play man and Mike Joy, and then 2 drivers who in the past they had the play-by-play man, the driver and Darrell Waltrip, and the crew chief and Larry McReynolds. Now that they've banished Larry McReynolds to the doghouse, which is unfortunate because he provides a lot of great analysis. We talked about that last week. But now they have 2 drivers, and one of them is far more current and has a far greater understanding of what is going on. And if you're Darrell, it's going to put Fox in a very awkward spot, because they have really paraded Darrell Waltrip around as their lead analyst. And he's just not anywhere near as good as Jeff Gordon is right now.
But it was great to see someone call him out. It was beautiful, because he's been making these mistakes now for years. It's actually been getting worse as the years
progressively
have been going on. So to have someone call him out was really entertaining to watch. And it's going to do one of 2 things, I think. Either it's going to force Darrell to step up his game, or it's just going to cause more conflict in the booth of these more incidents. Yeah. Because I think
I think they both took it I think Gordon at least took it pretty well, and I think that Mike Joy enjoyed the back and forth. I don't know, as you said, if Darrell feels threatened. I do wonder if he feels threatened, because he has to know at some level that his analysis has not been up to the level that Gordon has been putting out this year.
And I think without a driver in the booth next to him, it has been easier to hide, but now it's showing.
Because you got a crew Larry McReynolds.
Nervous. So I'm really interested to listen in over the weeks to come to see what sort of goes on.
Well, the good news is that he has a bye week next week, so he has 2 weeks to prepare for Bristol. So hopefully he can step up his game a little bit next week.
All right, guys.
So next week is a bye week, and then we move into April. There are some tremendous racetracks coming up. We've got Martinsville in there. We've got Bristol coming up. So the short track swing is always one of my favorite parts of the year. Races back to 1 o'clock on the East Coast, so you get those a little bit earlier on the afternoon. Night racing at Texas, which I'm interested to see. How much of this great racing was the tire wear that we saw at Clinton? How much of it was the lower downforce package? We want to hear about that. We want to hear about Jimmy Johnson. What do you think about does he sandbag? Does he show you his full hand? Did Chad Knaus make an adjustment on that car to to know is going to be better over the short run? Or is he just that good in big moments? It could be some of that too.
Absolutely, guys. Next week's an off week, but we will be back. We're going to give you some extra bonus analysis. So we will see you next Monday for another video. Take care.